The day began like any other. The city was bathed in the gentle light of dawn, and the world seemed to be at peace. The sun rose, casting a golden hue over the landscape. Birds sang their morning songs, heralding the start of a new day. The city stirred to life. People went about their routines, unaware of the extraordinary events about to unfold. Then, the impossible happened. Glass began to melt. It wasn't fire, but something stranger. The glass seemed to lose its solidity, becoming something entirely different. It was as if the very structure of the glass was dissolving, transforming into something else, something fluid, something clear, something wet. The transformation was mesmerizing, yet unsettling. At first, it was a curiosity. People gathered, their faces a mix of wonder and confusion, trying to make sense of the phenomenon. A shimmering distortion in windows caught their eyes. The glass seemed to dance with light, creating an otherworldly spectacle. A strange ripple in drinking glasses added to the mystery. It was as if the liquid inside was alive, responding to some unseen force. Then, the trickle turned into a flood. Windows dissolved into waterfalls. Buildings wept. Streets became rivers. The transformation was no longer a mere curiosity. It was a catastrophe. The city was awash, not in rain, but in the very substance that once held its structures together. The once solid and dependable glass had turned into a deluge, engulfing everything in its path. The day that began with miracles ended in catastrophe, leaving the city forever changed. Panic erupted. People ran. Screams echoed through the flooded streets. Cars crashed, their windshields turning to blinding torrents. The air filled with the roar of rushing water, the shattering of glass, and the cries of a city drowning in its own reflection. Inside office buildings, computers dissolved into puddles on desks. High-rise windows became waterfalls, sending torrents cascading onto the streets below. Homes, once filled with light, grew dark as windows melted away, leaving behind gaping holes and the relentless sound of rushing water. Amidst the chaos, moments of strange beauty emerged. The world, reflected in a million shattered fragments, now flowed together, creating a mesmerizing, ever-shifting mosaic. The city, once rigid and defined, became fluid, its boundaries blurring in the shimmering deluge. But the beauty was a fleeting illusion, for in the reflections, one could also see the fear, the uncertainty, the realization that the world as they knew it was gone, washed away in a tide of liquid glass. Buildings, stripped of their glassy skeletons, began to crumble. Skyscrapers, once symbols of human ambition, swayed precariously, their reflections dancing wildly in the flooded streets before collapsing in upon themselves with a deafening roar. Dust and debris filled the air, mingling with the ever-present spray of water. The city, once a testament to human ingenuity, was now a treacherous landscape of ruins, half submerged in the remnants of its own shattered reflection. Section 5. Navigating the Deluge, a City Adrift. Survival became the only imperative. People banded together, helping each other navigate the flooded streets, sharing what little food and water they had left. Boats, once used for leisure, became lifelines, ferrying people to higher ground, to safety, to hope. In the shelters, stories were shared. Stories of loss, of fear, of bewilderment. But there were also stories of courage, of compassion, of the unyielding human spirit that refused to be extinguished, even in the face of unimaginable chaos. Section 6. The world turned liquid, a global ripple effect. Across the globe, glass was melting, transforming the world into a shimmering, fluid landscape. Cities became archipelagos. Forests, stripped of their greenhouses, struggled to survive. The environmental impact was catastrophic. The delicate balance of the planet, already strained, was thrown into disarray. The melting glass, once inert, now interacted with the environment in unpredictable ways, creating new compounds, altering ecosystems, and threatening the very fabric of life as we knew it. Section 7. From the ruins, hope takes root. Yet even in the face of global disaster, humanity endured. The instinct to survive, to rebuild, to find hope in the ruins, proved to be as powerful as the forces that sought to destroy. In the flooded cities, communities came together, clearing debris, sharing resources, and adapting to their new reality. Farmers, faced with the loss of greenhouses, experimented with new, open-air farming techniques. Scientists raced against time to understand the phenomenon and find ways to reverse it, to rebuild a world where glass, once again, held its shape. Section 8. Innovation in the face of adversity, the rise of aqueous architecture. Necessity, the mother of invention, spurred a wave of innovation. Architects, inspired by the fluid nature of their new world, began to design buildings that moved with the water, that flowed and adapted to the changing tides. New materials, resistant to the strange transformation, were developed. Cities, once defined by their rigid grids, began to take on a more organic, fluid form, their buildings rising from the water like shimmering, iridescent shells. Section 9. A new cityscape shaped by water. The city, once a place of concrete and steel, was transformed into a Venice of the future. Canals replaced streets, buildings designed to float or built on stilts rose from the water, their reflections painting the canals with 1,000 shimmering hues. Life found a way, adapting to the new normal. Children splashed in the canals, their laughter echoing through the watery streets. Markets held on floating platforms bustled with activity. The city, once on the brink of collapse, had found a new rhythm, a new beauty, a new way of being. Section 10. The spirit of humanity, a beacon in troubled waters. In times of crisis, when the world seems to be falling apart, it is often the human spirit that shines the brightest. The melting of the glass, for all its devastation, was a powerful metaphor for the fragility of our existence. Yet amidst the chaos, it had also revealed something profound about the human spirit. It showed that in the darkest of times, people come together, united by a common purpose. It had shown that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, humanity could adapt, innovate, and find new ways to overcome challenges. And in doing so, they often discovered beauty in the most unexpected places, where hope seemed lost. It had shown that the human capacity for compassion, for collaboration, for resilience, was as boundless as the ocean itself. People from all walks of life came together, offering their skills, their time, and their hearts. This boundless spirit was like the waves crashing against a rocky shore, relentless and unwavering. And it had shown that even in a world turned upside down, where everything familiar had been stripped away, hope could still find a way to surface. Like a flower pushing its way through the cracks in the pavement, reaching for the sun, hope emerged from the depths of despair. It was a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can find a way to rise, to rebuild, and to thrive once more. Section 11. A world transformed, embracing the flow of change. The world was forever changed. The transformation was not just physical, but deeply emotional and psychological. Cities that once stood tall and proud were now submerged. Their streets turned into rivers, their buildings into islands. The familiar landscapes were altered beyond recognition, and with it, the lives of millions. The glass never returned to its solid state. It was a poignant symbol of the irreversible changes that had taken place. The once sturdy and reliable material had become fluid, unpredictable, and ever-changing, much like the world it left behind. But humanity had learned to live with its watery legacy, to adapt, to innovate, to thrive in a world where the very ground beneath their feet could shift and flow like the tides. People found new ways to build homes, to travel, to communicate. They developed floating gardens, water-resistant technologies, and new forms of transportation that could navigate the flooded streets. The melting of the glass had been a catastrophe, a global crisis. It was a moment of collective shock and grief as the world watched in horror as the familiar melted away. Governments and organizations scrambled to respond, to provide aid and support to those affected. It was a time of great uncertainty and fear. But it had also been a catalyst for change, forcing humanity to confront its own fragility, its dependence on the natural world, and its remarkable capacity for resilience and reinvention. Communities came together, united by a common purpose. They shared resources, knowledge, and hope. They rebuilt not just their homes, but their lives, their dreams, and their futures. It had been a stark reminder that the world is in a constant state of flux, and that the only constant is change. The tides of time and nature are ever moving, and humanity must learn to move with them, to embrace the ebb and flow, the highs and lows. And in the end, it was the ability to embrace that change, to adapt and flow with the currents of fate, that allowed humanity to not just survive, but to thrive in a world forever transformed by the day the glass turned to water. It was a testament to the indomitable human spirit, to the power of hope, and to the endless possibilities that arise when we learn to embrace the flow of change.